The title of this video reads, I'm quitting, lost $60,000 on YouTube. Meet Romain Foray, an Amazon worker who decided to take his leap of faith and to start a YouTube channel. And guess what his YouTube channel is about, y'all? Personal finance. He discusses it in a cool, super calm, collected way. While working at Amazon, he noticed that there was a pattern between his boss always coming in looking unhappy, even with a high-paying job.
You have to think, the guy is pulling probably $40-50 million a year. And he would pass by my desk, and I would often say hi, just kind of like, what the hell is going on? This guy is at the top. He's one of the founders. Not once in the 2+ years that I've been there have I seen him smile or even being happy. His face was always kind of down and just kind of like sad and pissed off.
It didn't take too much time until Roman himself started feeling the pressures of working at Amazon, even though he too was getting paid a good amount of money. He still felt trapped.
And then I would speak to my manager. And at the time, guys, you have to think, I'm 27 and I'm making over $200,000 per year. But it's a performance-based, meaning I have a base salary, of course, but hours do not count. You're just going and doing everything pretty much. Like I was piling at least 60 hours a week. And Amazon kind of has that pressure behind you. And so I'm making great money. And I would see my manager, who's making probably $50,000 more than me in Seattle at the time with 3 kids. And he was miserable, despite making that much money. And I was like, pretty much a career jail. I can't really take risk. We have rent. We have 2 cars. We have the kids that needs private tuition, blah, 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 and all of that. And so I look at myself and I'm telling myself, is this my life? Like, is that going to be my life?
This led to Roman having many panic attacks and him saying to himself, it's time for a change. He wanted to be able to find something that he could scale to something bigger, something that he could do that wouldn't involve him trading all of his personal time for money.
And something at some point arose that really changed my perspective. I wake up at night, feeling nervous, shaky. My fiancé at the time would even tell me that I was shaking at night as I was going to bed. Crazy. I wake up, 6 a.m., I get a call. Hey, Roman, what the hell happened on that document that you've done here? And I'm like, what's going on? And I get a panic attack. A panic attack at 6 a.m., middle of the night in Seattle. And I'm like, what? Like, I've put every single moment of my life towards coming to this point, to just feeling miserable despite having a lot of money. And so at this point, I'm asking myself, no, this cannot be it. This cannot be my life. Like, there is no way I'm going to be that guy that's going to be staying and climb the corporate ladder, okay, make great money and just not like even enjoying the moment through that. And so I write on a book 58 different ideas of what I can do, from Airbnb to drop shipping to opening like a laundry machine company to tiny house, everything that you can imagine. What can I do here that provides me the scale where I'm not trading my time for money, where somehow I can still have a voice in the space? And so I decided to start a YouTube channel.
And this is where everything gets interesting, because now we're going to figure out when and where everything took such a bad turn. In my previous video, y'all rushed to the comments to tell me y'all wanted me to react to this. So let's see what's going on together.
I just received a call from my accountant who provided me with last year's results for my YouTube channel. And in 2024, I lost $57,295. So in this video, I'm going to be addressing what the heck happened, what have been my revenue streams, my expenses, and pretty much addressing all of those as I think about the future for this channel, because losing $60,000 while working over 3,000 hours on this sometimes makes you question some of your decisions.
It's crazy to hear how much money he lost considering how many hours he put into his YouTube channel. But we also have to remember every story has a beginning. And for additional context, this was his.
Overwhelmed already with the responsibility that I have at the job. So I take time off and I fly myself from Seattle to the middle of nowhere in the desert in a small city called Laughlin. And in Laughlin, there is nothing, especially in the winter. So I decide to lock myself in a room for 7 days with no distraction. I didn't want to hear anything from Amazon. I didn't want to hear anything from anyone. The only thing that I wanted to do is put into paper exactly how I was going to go and approach this YouTube channel. At night, I would be going to the gym and so on, kind of having that balance. And somehow I really found peace in that experience, in that moment with being completely, I come back and I have 10 pages of exactly how I'm going to approach that. And at this point, I find my biggest competitor in the space, who is Caleb Hammer, who is literally blowing up. And although I really like this concept, I wasn't too aligned maybe with his approach. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give a different shot at it. going through a more candid way. Everybody has their topic, and Caleb has learned to be a good friend of mine over the time now, but I'm just going to go at it differently. And so at that point, my goal is to figure out how can I bring some of the worst financial case in America to speak to me so that I can provide my take on this. Because for the past 10 years, while doing all of that at Amazon, I have been doing everything I can in my power to game the system. Anything that you can think of legally with regards to personal finance, I've played a game in it, from opening over 12 different checking accounts to milk on bonus, maximizing any credit card or tax advantages or anything that I can do to play the game perfectly. 80 hours. So I still have the pressure of Amazon that's crushing me. My fiance, we are starting to kind of go through a tougher time just because of everything that's piling up. At some point, actually, over the course of last year, I read a message because we were averaging like 1,000 views per video, and I was spending money left and right, having to recruit the right person and so on, just because I couldn't have time to edit my own videos, although I was reviewing every single minute. But I would be looking at my finances, and when you start on YouTube, you're making peanuts, especially when you want to get monetized, and it takes me a time, and I'm comparing myself to at the time, and I'm like, dude, what the hell, man? How? I'm competing in production with this guy and in the case, but I'm just not making it. So I write a message on community post and I say, hey guys, thank you so much for the venture. I locked down my computer and I'm like, all right, this is done. I just have to stick at Amazon. And I don't know, I'm just completely defeated about it, to be honest. And I post the last video and it blows up. And I'm like, all right, you got the spark. Okay, I'm starting to connecting left and right. There is a short company that is doing shorts for some of the top creators. I feel something's going. I have a little bit of funds. Let me invest money into doing shorts. We get 1.2 million views on shorts right after over the course of 3 months. But that, ladies and gentlemen, cost me $15,000. Okay, because I'm playing here with the big guns that does shorts for some of the biggest on YouTube, and I'm like, well, if this is my shot, let's just go at it, I'm
going to be totally honest with you. And I'm going to share my experience quickly with how I started YouTube. And it's quite relatable to him, actually. When I first started on YouTube, and as he did too, like he said, you make pennies. You're not making a lot of money. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, you get 1,000 views. You must be raking in the cash. Depending on what your topic is, you can get anywhere between $2 per 1,000 views to 10 to 20, whatever the case may be, right? But that's for 1,000 views. And it's already hard enough to even visualize 1,000 people watching your content, right? So if you're only getting 1,000 views per upload and you're spending a lot of time making the video, and in his case, paying for someone to edit the video, it might not even make sense financially to do that. And with that, you could end up losing money. Now, what I did was I edit all my videos myself. I know I ain't got it like that. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have an editor, but I'm not about to let nobody hit me over the head. So instead, I used the editing skills that I had and I acquired more. I learned how to edit better, faster, and more effectively. But it is hard work and it takes a lot of long hours. I be in the studio a lot of times till 2, 3 in the morning editing content. But that's not the side of YouTube a lot of people talk about, and that's not the side that you all see. You all just see the videos when they're posted, and people will evaluate you on the after results. They don't see what is going on in real time. They don't see that he was out here spending $15,000 for shorts. And for me personally, I don't even really like shorts because unless my shorts are getting millions of views, I don't really think it's worth it. In my opinion, long form is where it's at, it's where it's been, and it's where it's going to be more than likely. Now, I'm talking about on YouTube specifically. Now, if you're talking about TikTok, that's different, which I do wonder, did he go ahead and put those shorts on TikTok? Because yeah, it might be great for that sort of audience that appreciates short form content. But what I feel like I noticed over time as far as making content is that you have to pick which one you're going to be on YouTube. You can't dibble and dabble in all of it, because I noticed that it ended up affecting my views on long form content when I was posting a lot of short form content. And I was one of the people when shorts came out, I was posting a short every day, but that's not what paid. The long form content paid the money. So if I had to pick a side, I picked the side where the money resides. But what has stood out to me the most is that he was paying somebody to edit his content. In all honesty, I feel like when you're first starting out on YouTube, you should be trying to figure out how to edit your own content. I'm gonna be totally honest with you, because once you know how to do it, Nobody can stop you. Like, you're unstoppable at that point. You're going to learn so many skills that you can take those skills and charge other people. Like, if I wanted to be a video editor at this point, I have a whole catalog of content where I can say, hey, look at what I've done. I did all of this myself. Not one soul has helped me when it comes to editing. And the work will speak for itself. Your results are going to speak for itself. And you may not even be very good at it at first, but over time, you will get better. Like, you will look back at your work and be like, wow, this used to take me a whole week. Now I can do this in 2 days. This video right now is being recorded March 24th at 1 p.m. I'm going to have this video up March 25th in the morning, but you might have to go through the rain to get to the rainbow. And of course, I could never tell somebody if it's going to be worth it in the long run. But for me personally, I rather risk my time and my effort than risk my money, especially in the beginning of my YouTube journey where I didn't really have a lot of money to be spending like that. And I'm one of the cheapest content creators y'all probably ever seen. Like, if y'all watch some of my hair content, I was out here reusing old bottles. Like, I didn't even want to pay for a good spray bottle. So why would I want to pay for an editor? And even the prices that I'd be seeing that they charge, I'd be like, you can forget it. And I know many of you have even heard the phrase, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, but teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. That is really a true statement.
I realized that, or maybe my content is not strong enough to, justify that ROI. Definitely not from that point. So I continue through this venture, and that leads us to second quarter of 2024. I'm averaging about 10 or so thousand views per video. But at that time, guys, you have to think, I'm still at Amazon and I'm running everything. So the selection process for having people coming on that show is something that you cannot imagine, because I'm looking generally for 3 things. Age, generally the older the better, and the wiser experience, the more depth of the story. Financial struggle, or generally financial drama in some sort. They're not doing so well financially. And the most important one is someone that is willing to open up. And that's where it's tricky. To get one person to sit on the chair that I'm sitting right now, I need to speak to at least 40. So I'm running Amazon. I'm running casting. I'm running production. I'm having people coming to my house to record. I'm preparing the cases. I'm doing thumbnails, or I'm actually kind of reviewing thumbnails and so on. Titles, SEO, everything. And I said, fuck it, I'm burning out at Amazon. I'm quitting Amazon. Let's freaking run that shit. Let's go all in.
Yeah, he was over it at that point because his hand was in too many different pots. And I can understand why. And I definitely feel him on the burnout, because I think that that is something that a lot of content creators go through, especially if you're doing everything yourself. But in his case, it's even worse because he's trying to find people to make the content, to come sit in his chair and to open up about their personal finances.
I had a little bit of fun. I'm not going to lie to you. That's kind of how I went about it. I'm like, okay, you've burned yourself like crazy at Amazon's. You can financially go about it. And over the course of time, I'm going through the motion, going through that. My editor, we kind of pair together. We're like, let's go, and I'm running days where I'm going to bed at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Literally 1 a.m. at that point, just trying different things. And I'm starting to work with sponsors. They're liking, momentum builds. And then I decide to do something that completely messed up my algorithm. I get out of the podcast for just a glance to allow myself to go more of that, hybrid podcast, react, educational, and I don't have the subscriber to support that journey. And this is when things have been going down from that point where I'm not able to reach again that original viewer that was watching my content. As I'm looking at my finances, I'm in that momentum, like just let's keep this going. Like, I don't care, let's go. And I'm going to be opening up a little bit about what that means in terms of pure numbers. Guys, I hope for no judgment on this, but this is crazy. I spent $98,000 last year on YouTube. So...
Oh, my chest. He spent $98,000 on YouTube. I can understand why he's stressed. I can't. And I also want to bring up that a lot of people say, hey, when you're making money, you want to reinvest into your business. Like, I reinvest into my YouTube studio. Like, I painted this room. I got cameras. I actually got 2 cameras. You get new mics. You get all the things, the lighting. What I want to know is how much does his editor cost? Because I think that's probably where all the money was going.
Just even digesting this, it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, how the hell did you put yourself in this position? Most of that cost is contract labor.
I knew it. Contracting. And this is why I don't want anybody contracting for the high-end stuff. So I wanted to know, how much is a video editor for a video that is around 20 minutes long? And the reason I said 20 minutes long is that's typically how long my videos are, but his videos are actually longer than that. So if you got a 40-minute long video, it's probably going to be double. And it says here, you can expect to pay an editor anywhere between $400 to $650 or more. That's for one video. And the longer the video, the more you're going to have to pay. So remember when we were talking about how when you make a YouTube video and you're trying to get paid, you get paid per how many thousand people view that video, you get paid a certain amount of money. So think about this. If you only got 1,000 to 2,000 people to watch a video, let's say that you were getting $20 per video. YouTube is going to give you around $40 for that video. So if you paid an editor $400 to $600, who is really losing here? You or the editor? And you might be able to find an editor for cheap, but if you want a certain caliber of work, which he said he's trying to compete with the big dogs, like he was trying to go up against Caleb Hammer, and Caleb Hammer's production, top notch. He has a great team. And I don't see nothing wrong with trying to keep up with the competition and go against them, but I'm just saying sometimes it ends up being big bank, take little bank, because all of us can't afford to do the same thing. Like, I can't afford a producer like Caleb Hammer. I'm sorry. Y'all gonna get what you get, and if you rock with me, you rock with me. Now, this is why a lot of your content creators will have things like Patreons, or they might be selling courses, or they may put a sponsored ad in the video with a sponsor, because they may not really be making as much money as y'all think they're making. Now, the people who have a lot of reach, it's going to be different for them, but everybody don't have that sort of reach on YouTube. And even still, each video varies how much you're going to get paid per 1,000 views, because your topic is not probably going to be the same every video. And even if it is, it still fluctuates. It's not a set price every time just because you talk about the same thing.
So an editing on my podcast is about $500.
Oh! See, Google was actually spot on, y'all. It was spot on. $500. And he was saying earlier how he was only getting like 1,000 views on a video. This is my first time seeing this, so it's kind of crazy to me. I feel really bad for him, honestly.
Then you have to account for thumbnails. That's about $40. Then you account for someone that does captions. That's about $50.
Wait, thumbnails is 40? And I know he had a job and he was trying to just put everything to his business. This is why I really feel bad that this happened to him. And I've also seen some of his content pop up, or people say that they like his content. So I hope he's able to turn this around. But if he does want to quit YouTube, I can understand. But him telling y'all how much he's paying is really eye-opening, even for me as somebody who makes content and does everything herself. Like, this is crazy. I typically post at least 3 videos a week. So if I had to pay somebody $500 per video I post, that's a large chunk of change. And I ain't balling like that. Like, I mean, I'm doing okay, but dang.
Oh, right. I forgot about this one. People coming on the show. Most of the people have no money. They have nothing. And so I need to help with transportation. I need to provide a slight incentive at least for them to come and just open up to me. That's about $200 or so per person.
Look, and this is where I would say, hey, is it a good business plan? Like, when he wrote it all out, I'm not sure how he came up with his numbers. Maybe his numbers were based on what he thought he was going to generate per 1,000 views. But maybe once he got into YouTube and he was monetized, he was seeing that, hey, maybe it's not as lucrative to be paying somebody $600 to $700 or $500 for a video. When I first started my YouTube channel, I wrote down how much everything was going to cost. I wrote down exactly how I was going to do it and if it was worth it. I ended up eating some cost at first because originally when I started my YouTube journey, I was actually talking about my hair and I was actually recording my iPhone. I recorded all my videos on my iPhone. When I opened my business, I got a camera, I got a laptop that had a lot of storage. I did research on how much I needed so it would stop crashing. You know, I calculated how much my software was going to be, taxes, subscriptions, all of that. And I wrote it down and said, how long is it going to take me to pay this back? Because it was a certain dollar amount. And how much am I projected to make every month? Everything that I put in that first month, I got back in the first month because I was grinding. And I tried to keep my cost as low as possible by doing all the work myself. But the reason I was confident about it is because I already had an idea of how much every video would generate me. And I knew if I reached a certain threshold, I was going to be okay. And honestly, how a lot of us have to run our YouTube channels is no different than when we're talking about our personal finances. When we get on this camera and we talk about things like living below your means, the same applies to the business. You can definitely spend above your means on the business. And you may think you might be able to pay it all back, but if your plan wasn't solid from the beginning and you might have overdid it, you might run into some issues. So what I did was I kept my costs low from the jump And whatever I was able to actually generate, I assessed that and said, hey, how much of that do I want to put back into my business? And then I just keep rinsing and repeating the same process. And I'm going to tell you all, at the beginning of last year, when I decided to paint this studio and get cameras and get my computer and everything, I probably spent about $5,000. And that was including my laptop, which was like the bread and butter of what I needed, and one camera, lights, the desk, the chair. That was all around $5,000. But the other thing about that was I actually saved the year before the $5,000. I didn't go into debt paying $5,000 for the studio upgrades that I was making. And I know people are going to be like, where'd you get the $5,000 from? I had to save my own money. And that's how a lot of people go into business. Either you're going to save your own money, you're going to not go out and do what you want to do with that money, or you're going to get a business loan, or you're going to go into debt. It's just like personal finance. It's really no different. I'm not okay with going into debt for something I know I can save up for or budget for. And it's no shots to anybody that does that. It's just not what I was okay with doing because debt makes me nervous.
So every production, every video that's coming out every week is more or less, when you account for everything, about $1,000 out of pocket.
Nope.
That guy's crazy. When my revenue per video is about, $10, $12 per 1,000 views.
His is 10 to 12 per 1,000 views. So y'all remember what I was talking about? So he was going out, finding people, paying them, paying an editor, paying a thumbnail artist. And if his video was only getting 2,000 views, he was essentially getting paid $22 and paying hundreds, thousands of dollars to the contractors. I'm not even gonna lie and be 1,000% honest. If he would have did the editing himself, yes, it would have took more time. It would have been time consuming. I know he was working a job, but dang it, he would have had a lot more money in his pocket, and he would have known if it was even worth paying somebody in the future to do it, because then he could have said, hey, this is going really well. I'm getting a lot of money, so I'm going to scale up. But I think a lot of people do it backwards. They're projecting to make a lot of money more than likely, and they don't make the money, and they already started paying people like they're making enough money to sustain that.
So I make 10,000 views, I make $120. The ROI here is out of this world. In fact, in 2024, I made a total of $40,844 of revenue.
So he's saying off his Google AdSense, that's how much he got paid for the year.
40K. So
40.
My time is literally on minus. Like I've lost, I guess, 40,000, almost $60 an hour. This is a freaking joke. I did 3.4 million views last year in ads, 23,917. My most popular video, the one that blew up, did $2,400. So I had to bet on sponsors and affiliates. I made about $17,000 from those. But affiliates, they're like, look, let's go. What's your return? How are you doing? What are your views? Hey, we want something. We want like an average. Hey, what's going on? Well, my views are going to be up and down, up and down. I can't really provide as consistent of a platform because it's so case dependent. At the same time, I'm feeling the financial pressure and like, what the hell have I put myself into? I need to commit to it. I need to just go about it and just kind of see, is this going to be the next video that's going to come out? Is this going to be it? Or do I need to shut that down?
Y'all, tell me what you would do at this point. I feel like if you got the vision and you got the hunger for it, I just feel like, hey, work your job and do YouTube on the side. It ain't going to be easy. You're going to be tired, but you wouldn't be losing money like that. Hiring contractors, thumbnail artists, videographers, video editors, all of those people, I personally feel like it's a luxury. It's just like how I feel about people getting DoorDash. Unless you can afford to do all that, you playing the wrong game. This is the equivalent for me of saying, go pick up the food yourself. Edit the videos yourself. Edit the thumbnails yourself, because you do what you can do until you can do what you can afford to do. But one thing I will say is he was definitely smart for keeping his job, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm going to do content creation and I'm going to quit. They have one video do well and don't understand that they're not able to replicate the process, to keep doing it over and over and over, to be engaging enough, to know how to speak effectively and communicate and capture an audience, to get people to want to keep tuning in to listen to them. And they quit their job. But luckily for him, he didn't do that. YouTube is the thing that's costing him money because of all these contractors that he has to pay out. And one thing about it, you can always go back to your job if you didn't quit your job. You can always come back to YouTube. You can always figure a better way to run your business. So I wouldn't even say it's too late for him. His previous business plan just wasn't cost effective.
So last night at 3 a.m., I wake up and I have a mini panic attack because the day before I received that document and I'm like, fuck, that's what it is. That was goes through my mind. So this is what's going to happen. I have 10 videos, 10 podcasts recorded ahead right now. Those are going to be probably some of the 10 most important videos that I've ever published on this channel, because it's going to be a go or no go. I am shutting down my new recordings. So the video that you're going to be watching for the next couple of weeks are naturally the ones that we've recorded before that have a follow-up and so on. And we have some really, really exciting stories. I'm having to fire my editor.
Good move. I'm sorry for the editor. I'm just being honest, y'all. Good for him. Because at the end of the day, he got to do what's best for him. And what he's doing isn't working.
Which has been my partner from day one. I just can't afford her. And
It's sad.
I am going to be doing something completely different if this shit doesn't run.
I think this is best for him. I do. Sincerely. And I hope it works well for him. In the world of YouTube, us content creators, we're competing for the eyeballs of viewers. So whoever shows up and that's who the people want to see, that's who the people are looking for and can't wait to hear from, that's who they're going to watch. And he might be that person. YouTube is a very competitive space. It don't care nothing about your job. It don't care nothing about you going broke. It just is what it is, right? But I do hope the best for everybody that gives this an honest try. Who knows? This might be the start of his redemption story.
Was it a fail? Heck no.
No.
When I think about the 2 years running this, I've probably lost at this point $100,000.
I mean, you lost money, but I think it was more of a learning experience, to be honest.
But somehow, I've never felt more alive. So from a financial perspective, has it been worth it? Yes, because I see it as educational, as if I invested myself into this venture. Like the people that I've met, the experience and everything has been crazy. And yes, it's a massive financial loss.
Yeah.
Speaking from the perspective of a finance guy, I should have shut that shit down much faster. But man, when you have a hobby, when you have a passion, when you have something that just pulls you in, fuck, you just...
Look, that's real. I like real people. I like real emotions, real thoughts. And what we're seeing here is, hey, yeah, I lost some money, but he learned a lot in his experience. Like, we all go through some stuff that's like, dang, that was crazy that happened, or that was like, it might seem like a setback, but really it might be a setup for a major comeback.
You just want to make it work, man. That's just the way it is. I have known that on this channel, we have a 92% success rate for people that have come to the show. And while I may not have the finances to, to showcase that success for me,
Okay.
Man, I've probably changed at this point tens of life, or at least for the ones that I've spoken to that I'm still in touch with.
See, and that's the whole point of the YouTube channel. That's what it should be, is to help people. So if you did that, yes, you took a loss, you got to take it on the chin, but in your process, even in your own downfall, you still helped people out and you changed lives. And that's more than what a lot of people can say. YouTube isn't just about you, it's about other people. So I think he's going to come back. I hope he comes back from this. Definitely one of the craziest videos that I've seen on YouTube so far, but honestly, one of the most touching and inspiring at the same time. What did you think about him putting $100,000 into his YouTube channel? What do you think about his losses? Do you think this was a learning experience? Did you appreciate his honesty? And last but not least, tell me, do you think he's going to make a comeback? Because I love a good underdog story. And y'all, make sure you follow his channel. I'm going to link it down below. And we're rooting for you over here. But we have to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.